All right. The topic of today is SEO basics for beginners. We'll be taking questions afterwards. You could easily dive in this topic into what I would call business jargon or niche jargon. So I don't want to overwhelm you. So really what we're going to be doing is we're going to be defining and discussing key terms. And as we do, I'll go into a little bit of the details of how those terms operate and how, more importantly, you can adapt what you're doing in your organization to apply these terms or practices. So the first is SEO and local SEO, and there is a distinction. I'll go over that. And we're going to talk about on-page and off-page SEO, and then keywords, which in reality, I don't have a separate slide for that, if you will. We're going to be discussing keywords throughout the presentation because it's one of the foundations, if you will, of SEO. And then we're going to be looking at your own reputation for your organization or business, because it's critical when discussing SEO, because once you get found and people start to look into your organization, what other people say and their perception of you is critical actually to getting that follow through from a visitor. All right, so first of all, what is SEO? It's a jargon term that we use that's essentially search engine optimization. And it's the effort of modifying your website to increase organic traffic on the search engine result page. And another form of jargon, we call that the SERP page, the search engine result page. And what is all of that? There's a ton of jargon in there. You're probably thinking, well, now that you've defined it, I still don't understand what it is if you're not familiar with it. Essentially what it is it's going to Google or going to Bing or going to Yahoo and typing in a search term. In this case, we'll use local view as the example. Someone is looking for a digital marketing company. So they type in digital marketing company, or they might even search for digital marketing specialist near me. And then that result is what we call the SERP. It's a search engine result page. And there's a lot behind that, but essentially SEO is, working on your website so that you show up in that list. That's essentially it. And there's a lot of components to that, and we'll define more of them as we go. Now, what is local SEO and how is it different from regular SEO? Well, SEO is, a broad term, and, there's millions and millions and millions of websites. Well, local SEO is focused on specific geographic locations, specifically those obviously to your organization. So now you're narrowing the competition and you're bringing local visitors to your website, which actually, if you're a local organization, is more advantageous because that's really what you're looking for. If you're a national organization, it still would benefit you to focus on a local geographic location because you're reducing your competition. For example, local view, right? We work with clients. Gary's in Texas. Marianne is in Southern California. And Lisa, forgive me, I think you're in the Midwest. I have forgotten. And so, essentially, but we work with all of you, right? At Local View, we work with all of you. But we're, I started the company in Lynnwood, Washington. We also have a location in Oak Harbor. We also have a location in Mason City. So we focus primarily on those three locations, and we have pages directed or designated for those locations with geographic search terms. And so one of the main objectives is to find yourself within local SEO on the local path. And this is a term we use for this map profile page listing that Google presents with a local SEO specific search. And so what organizations find themselves here? Well, organizations that provide services or products to people, and that's it. And anybody can create one of these Google map profile pages for yourself. And so, obviously, plumber near me, and, or therapist near me, or, any one of those search terms, you can then show up within a local geographic area. And so local SEO, very important. Now, let me just say this very emphatically. Google's local pack is always first in local SEO. And in other words, they're going to put the normal organic results page below their own listing of Google mapped businesses. And so the big question is do you have a Google business profile? And if you don't, just go to google.com/business and set one up. And very important. And if you're wondering how to do that and how you could get that started, obviously we would love to help you out with that as well. All right, so moving right along, on-page SEO. This is a huge endeavor. We would call this, it's often called optimizing a website. And so basically it's the work that can be accomplished on a website to improve its searchability, and as a result, its position in search rankings, right? So examples of this would include what we call optimizing the content, focusing on hot topics, adding videos, putting great images, and using what we call alt tags for those images, which is a little bit of a technical thing, which I'll discuss in a moment, a solution for that. And then also you want to improve your meta description and page titles. And so these are basically, driven towards those search terms that someone is searching for, and you're optimizing a page to address or become, if you will, the solution to their search, right? And so this would also include, the main topic of your page, which Google would see as the H1 font within your code. Now, what is the H1 font? Well, if any of you have ever used Microsoft Word, you're already familiar with H1. It's the main topic. It's the overall title of your presentation, your paper, your document, right? And then you have H2s, those are your sub topic, and then you have paragraphs, or P, which is now your paragraphs. And that's just a basic outline. Website pages are the same way. They're organized very much in the same way. And so now you're thinking, well, how do I do all of that? Well, I'm glad you asked. There are plugins that we put into WordPress, has them, other topologies have them, but essentially we're focused on WordPress here at Local View. So, and by the way, all of you are clients of Local View. So if you've gotten your website with Local View, it's WordPress, and we utilize SEO plugins. And so these plugins, or pieces of software that we put on your website, grade your web page as to your search terms, and it'll help you and show you all of the things that you need to do on that page. And it literally will give you a score and a list of tasks to change on that page, so you can then optimize that page for search results. And so we focus on a plugin called All-in-One SEO. And the reason why we use that is because it's all inclusive. If you purchase some of the other ones that are all very good, that are out there on the market, they sell you bit by bit, piece by piece, local SEO modules, video SEO modules, recipe SEO modules, and all of these different modules. And the price goes up and up and up. So we use All-in-One SEO because most of our businesses are local focused, right? And they want to optimize their page. They also use video and those kinds of things. And so we buy them in bulk. I think if you buy it direct from All-in-One SEO, it's $100. We sell it for $49 a year. It's a steal. You should put it on your website if you're focused and want to address the issues of SEO. All right, moving right along, off-page SEO. Oh, and let me go back and mention just briefly meta description and page titles. Well, meta description is that little paragraph that shows up underneath a search result. It describes the page that shows up. And so all of those are addressed within these plugins that I've mentioned. And I would highly encourage you to purchase an annual license for one of those and start to optimize your pages. Okay, off-page SEO. Well, off-page SEO can be defined in just one statement. It's building trust and authority for your website. But it's work that can be accomplished to increase the search's site ranking. So the ranking of your website, or we call it search engine ranking, and it's building trust and authority for your content. And as a result, the domain name for your organization or your website increases in what we call search result ranking. Now, some examples of these efforts are building backlinks. And what are backlinks? Well, backlinks are basically another website referring to your website and putting your URL in its content. And essentially, Google searches all of the websites throughout the world and finds all of these links and puts together what we would call a democratic system. Larry Page, early on when he developed Google's search engine, he developed this matrix, if you will, of a democratic system that would then rank websites as to their searchability by backlinks. In other words, how many people refer to your website, and as a result, if you have a large amount of those, you would increase in ranking. And then when you are linked on websites that have a high ranking, your score, if you will, would increase. So for instance, if Local View is listed on a blogger in Switzerland and he gets 10 visitors a month, we would call that a backlink, but its value would be low. If we were featured on one of the news channels, ABC or Fox or CNN or one of these as an up-and-coming company, that would radically increase our ranking. Now, another thing to understand is that .gov, or a government website, or a .edu, a university website, they're also highly valued. And so, when you have backlinks to websites that get a lot of traffic, or these high-value websites, your overall ranking will increase as a result. And so this is the system that Larry Page set up way early on when he developed the search engine result a logarithm, if you will. Now, how can you do this? Well, there's black hat purchasing of backlinks. There's also guest postings, where you can actually write for other folks and create great content for them and ask them to refer back to your website within the content, or within your content that you provide them. You just add a little author section at the bottom, which has a link back to your website, and they publish that on their website, and there you go. And so when you have friends or co-workers or business associates within your niche, that's one way. And you basically develop campaigns where you create a bunch of content and you offer to put it on other people's websites. I suggest it's original content, so you write a specific article for each one of those and you reach out to folks. The other way to produce these or this ranking and trust is social media, right? So you begin to develop a following either on Facebook or LinkedIn or other social media platforms, as well as even producing video content and others for Instagram and YouTube and the like. And so now you begin to build this authority and trust for your domain as a result. And we call this off-page SEO. There's many other aspects, which I won't get into, but these are the main areas of off-page SEO. And so, a practical application would be, let's say you're selling shoes, right? Well, not for you guys, but let's say you're selling shoes and, you basically, let's say Shaq O'Neal, right? Shaquille O'Neal. and you say, hey, could you do a post on your Instagram with my shoes on and talk about how you love my shoes? Well, golly gee, if he has over 1 million people who follow his Instagram page, guess what? They're going to be finding your website. And so, and this has nothing to do with the content of your website. It's all off page, right? And so, but now you've got all these people on your website and they're checking you out and all of those kind of things. And so you can then take that example into your niche and find yourself focused on creative ways to get some off-page trust and authority for your domain. All right. So lastly, what I want to cover is your reputation. And this is critical really in the whole process. It doesn't increase, if you will, your global or national ranking, but it does actually affect your local SEO. Your reputation on Google's map profile page, if you have, say, like us, if you notice here, we've got a 51 5-star reviews on our local view Lynnwood profile, and we have 12 5-star reviews on our Oak Harbor profile. And sorry, I haven't listed our Mason City. I think we have like 8 or 9 5-star reviews there. Well, you know, think about it logically. You show up in a search result and someone looks at your profile and they see a ton of 5-star reviews, or maybe even just a small amount of 5-star reviews, and they actually go out and read them. That is going to help them continue the process of pursuing your organization or services. So, but how it does affect local SEO is that where you show up in that local pack, if you will, that I discussed earlier within the search result page, is affected by your geographic location, by your search terms, the keywords that people are searching for that you have in your profile, and then also your reputation and your rating, if you will, within your reviews. And so one of the things that you really need to understand is that this should be a part of your standard operating procedure. You should complete the circle with anybody you're doing business with or providing services for. You should have them leave you a review. And by the way, every one of you are going to get a link to our review page. And I would just invite you to leave your feedback for us, because that helps us as a business. And it's just what I'm doing, what I'm encouraging you guys to do. And from these, you can get testimonials, you can get people to really expand on what you do. And then you might even want to ask them to feature that. And, you know, in other words, spend some time with them and, you know, put that into some form of, you know, section on your website. You want to feature these. Or you can even now for yourself develop a whole case study and some of the things that you've done. That's a whole nother element of reputation, where you can actually prove that what you've done or your efforts or your services or your products have produced an amazing result, and you have the evidence or the empirical evidence of that, and you put that together in what we would call a case study. These are very valuable. You can publish those on your website in the form of blog articles, or have others produce that on their website or publish that on their website. So this should be included as a part of your standard operating procedure. All right, so we've covered the basics, SEO, local SEO. We've talked about on-page and off-page. We've really discussed keywords throughout. Those are the, if you will, the keys that bring people from their searching to your website, because you've connected their terms to the terms on your own website and they match. The difference then would be your ranking. So where do you show up in that list of results is all about off-page SEO. And so, and then finally, the most critical thing I think that we can do after we provide our services is getting reviews, getting feedback, and listening to people, not only because it'll help your reputation, but it'll also help you as an organization adapt and address any concerns or comments from your customers or folks that you've provided services, your clients. All right, I want to thank you for joining us, and I am one for going long, and I've actually done a 20-minute webinar, and I've pulled off the impossible. And so if you know me, I talk a lot, and I actually pulled it off. So now I think Madison will take over, and if you guys have any questions, I would love to hear from you guys. And if you can drop off that you want at any time, we're just going to continue on and answer any questions and maybe even go a little deeper.